services. On St. Thomas, he provides affordable and reliable service. And Burden Writers Academy, where we provide professional development services, particularly to small and parochial schools. Those of you who cannot afford the cost of the huge consultant services, we provide that for you at a fraction of the cost. So reach out and tap into Burden Writers Academy. We provide a lot more than writing and reading. We also provide professional development services. So thank you for coming, for listening. Those of you who are listening via the airwaves of DBS Radio, or you're listening on YouTube, or maybe Facebook, we want to say thank you so much for your listen. And if you want to call locally, if you're listening to DBS, it's 448-3284 or 1-800-327. And if you are listening in the diaspora and you want to call, you can call 308-432-9744. Today, we're going to talk to you about, last week actually we spoke about resolutions. And based on what the internet or the news is saying, that last week Friday, which is the second Friday in January, is known as Quitters Friday. So this means that at least 24% of people who had resolutions already quitted. I hope you're not one of those, especially if you listened last week. We understood that in order for a resolution to work, it has to be, habit formation has to take place, all right? So if you're one of those last week, you actually took the time to formulate a new habit or to carve new routines that replace the old ones, then hopefully you are still on to your goals. And today we're going to take a look at something else that connects to helping you achieve your goals during this year, 2025. And that's why we are taking a look at visions or vision boards. Why do people create vision boards? And the next question is it a belief? Or is there a science to vision boards? And if it's a belief or there's a science, do they really work, right? And so today we're going to take a closer look at visioning or vision boarding or visualization by taking a closer look at the art of, or the science of visualization, okay? So I like definitions. So what is vision? A vision is a desired future state. So whether you're thinking of your personal life, your business, your nonprofit, it is that mental picture of what you or your organization would like to achieve or what would like to accomplish in a specific time. So for example, you decide by the end of this year, 2025, I want to accomplish X. That's what we mean by a vision. Again, a vision is something that you would like to accomplish by a specific time. But why do we need to write it down, right? Of course, there's one clear reason. If you do not write it down, you will forget, right? I am a perfect example. Last year, or December 2023, actually, I wrote down a few goals that I wanted to achieve in 2024. And guess what? I don't think I revisited them. Like if I did twice in the year, I don't think I did more because it was on my phone. So if you write it down, if you have your vision and you write it down and it's hidden, then there's no stimulation. There's nothing to remind you. There's nothing to hold you accountable and help you achieve that goal. So I know there are a lot of celebrities, I've heard them use it. They use Habakkuk 2:2 a lot, and I'm going to reference it right now. So Habakkuk 2:2, there's a reason why the prophet was told, because Habakkuk pretty much, he said, I'm going to wait on my watchtower and I'm going to hear what the Lord has to say. And he said, God answered and said to him, write it down, make it plain. And then he said, one of the versions I read it says, write it down bold so that he that runs may read it. In those days, of course, messengers would most of them were running. So he said, write it down, make it plain and bold enough so that somebody running can actually read it. That's the power of visualization. We drive around and we see people have things on billboards. Why do you think people pay so much money to put their names on billboards? Like the attorneys, they'll say, call me if you had an accident, and their names take up the whole billboard. Why do you think they do that? Because they are making sure they write it down, they're making it plain, and also they're writing it big enough so that those who are driving by can read it. Same thing for us. If we don't write, we have our vision. If we don't write it down and make it plain, then we might find ourselves forgetting. I have written things down, and then 3 months later, I'm trying to read it, and I have no idea what that is. Especially if I wrote it down in my handwriting, I'm like, what is that? What did I write? That's why the prophet was told, make it plain, because there is a tendency for us to forget if we don't write it down or if we don't write it down plain. All right. So Habakkuk was told, write what you see, write it out in big, bold block letters so that it can be read on the run. And that's from the Message version, Habakkuk 2 and verse 2. All right. So I want us to look at visualization from the scientific perspective. So we just looked at it from the prophet's perspective. It's like, write it down, make it plain so that people can see it, or that you can see it, or somebody can see it. The messenger can see it while it's running. But the science, let's look at the science. The study, according to the Corporate Magazine of Wellness, it says that the study of how visualization, or the science of visualization, is the study of how the brain processes visual images to create neural pathways that can improve mood, improve motivation, improve cognitive abilities, and it can reduce stress and anxiety. So, if we practice the art of visualization, we can improve our brain activity, we can improve our health, and we can also improve our creativity. According to the magazine, it states that visualization activates the same neural pathways in the brain as if you were actually experiencing it. So your brain thinks that you're actually experiencing it because you're focusing so much on that particular thing. And while you are visualizing, it releases neurotransmitters like dopamine. We've spoken about dopamine a lot of times before. That is the feel-good part of your brain, which it improves mood, right? And it taps into the reward system of the brain. So we know that visualization taps into dopamine. So, hey, if we visualize, the brain is thinking that, hey, that's exactly what you're engaging in. Another thing that visualization does, it helps your brain with neuroplasticity. So if you were thinking of learning a new skill or achieving something that you haven't achieved before, visualization helps your brain do that. For example, if you decide you were going to learn the guitar, you would need neuroplasticity to help you with that because you've never done that before. It's a new skill. Your brain needs that because it strengthens the brain connections and help you with goal achievement. So why do you need to visualize? So that you can do that. You can achieve those goals. So again, I'm going to refer to them a lot. The Corporate Wellness Magazine says how to encourage positive thinking and goal achievement. The best way to do that is by engaging in the science of visualization. So the first thing they say to do is to identify your goals. Of course, a lot of you listening or in your family or home or whether business, you might have written your goals down already. But the question I have for you is, are those goals specific? So, for example, some people might say, oh, I want to save more money this year in 20, your resolution, save more money, lose weight, make more money, eat better, treat my parent or my spouse better, take my church life more seriously, get better grades. But if you wrote these things down, may I warn you that neither of those things were specific goals. They're just general statements you wrote down. They are not specific goals. So how are you going to visualize make more money? You would have to make, first thing you have to do is to make your goals more specific. So instead of saying make more money, you would have to say earn $50,000 more than last year. Instead of saying lose weight, you would have to say lose 30 pounds by December 31st. Instead of saying save more money, you would have to say save $50 more than I did monthly this year. Instead of saying eat better, you would want to say things like abstain from fast foods and added sugar. Instead of saying show up, treat my spouse better or my parent better, you would want to say show appreciation to my spouse by taking them to dinner monthly, or show appreciation to my mom or to my parents by doing such and such monthly. You want to be specific. You want to say something about church. Oh, I want it better in my church life. Be specific. I want to engage in one more ministry or a ministry. I've never been in ministry before. I want to engage in at least one ministry this year. For those of you who want to say your child says to you, wrote down as the resolution, I want to get better grades. Well, let them be specific. I want to move from C's to B's or B's to A's by spending more time in my studies. You want to make sure that you are specific in what you're doing. Learn a new skill. So again, you want to make sure that number one, you identify your goals. And I just showed you how to go ahead and write specific goals. The next thing you want to do is to visualize your goals. And what is visualization? We say visualization is the art of being in that space where you actually think you're experiencing it. And I'll talk a little bit more about it later. But I just want to tell you that there are people like athletes like Michael Phelps. Michael Phelps, you know, he was he's decorated with all those gold medals for swimming, and he talks about visualization. He says that he runs a race, he swims a race, if you want to say swim because he's not running. He would go through it about 100 times in his mind before the actual race. So he's visualized it. His brain has actually exercised it before his actual body goes through the process. And so he does that. Katie Ledecky, another person, talks about visualization. Muhammad Ali says, if my mind can conceive it and my heart can believe it, then I can achieve it. So all of these athletes talk about visualizing things before they get to even achieve it. And Jack Canfield, who is the author of Chicken Soups for the Soul, he talks about earning his first $100,000 by he drew it down and he engaged in talking about it, feeling it. We'll talk about it some more. Lynn Grabhorn, author of Excuse Me, Your Life is Waiting, is another one who talks about feeling. Think of that accomplishment, put yourself in the place, and of course, get that whole feeling. If you say you want to win the lottery, for example, get yourself in that space. I'm not saying that's something you should work on, but you can, right? So how do you visualize? I'll tell you. According to the Jack Canfield and Lynn Grabhorn and all of those authors, here's what they're suggesting. Imagine yourself achieving your goal. Make sure you're feeling that sense of satisfaction and the joy of accomplishment that comes with it. Visualize every detail, including what you see and what you feel. All right? Most writers on the topic, like Canfield, Grabhorn, Corporate Magazine, all of them suggest that once you've done that the one time, you want to do it twice a day. In the morning when you wake up and the night before you go to bed. Why? Because visualization gives you opportunities to see obstacles so that you can handle them. And then you are speaking out things that are important because the brain begins to believe and you begin to attract what you speak. Mark Batterson is another author that I like. He writes, Draw the Circle. And he talks about how his church And he and his church members, they actually got a building by just making sure that they knew that what they wanted and they were repeating their request every day. You talk about pray without ceasing, it's like repeating it every day at the same time. They would walk, they would talk, and they would repeat it every day. And the thing is, it happened. Okay? So think of what the Bible tells you. Speak the things that are not as if they were. We read it in the word and then we wonder, it's like, oh, you want me to say it every day? Well, yes, speak the things that are not as if they were and speak it often enough. And so it's going to happen. Regular visualization helps to focus the mind on what you want, and it activates your creative powers of the subconscious mind, motivating it to work harder at creating your successful outcomes. So the more you visualize, the more you speak it, the more you talk it, the more you think that you want to do it. The next thing you do after you visualize is you create a vision board. Why do you want to create a vision board, and what is it? Remember we said that in Habakkuk, he said to him, make it plain, put it out there bold so that you can see it. And remember what visualization does. When you can see it, the brain believes you can, in other words, you start putting that effort into it. So creating a vision board will give you that opportunity. And how do you do that? You take your goals. Remember you wrote your goals earlier, like earn $50,000, lose 30 pounds, save $50 more monthly. You take those goals, you find a board, of course, that you can hang or put somewhere where you can see it every morning and night. And instead of writing out the words, you want to put images that would remind you. So yes, you have your goals written somewhere, but you also have a board up somewhere that reminds you of what you were going to do. So for example, remember last year what I did? I had mine written on my phone and I didn't get to revisit it every day. But this year, together with you, I've decided I'm going to create a vision board because in the past, I have written out goals. I've done that. I've done a little bit of visualization, not much, not consistently. I'd say, okay, maybe the first few months, I start saying it every morning, every night. And then by the halfway the year, you forget about that. But this year, I'm going to be on it with you. Let's do it together. Create that vision board. So for example, earn $50,000 more than last year. What you can do, draw a $50,000 note. So once and put it on that vision board, paste it on there. Where do you get your pictures from? You can get it from magazines. You can go online and print them out. You can draw it if you want. Get your kids to draw their goals and put it out there because same thing. If they wrote their resolutions and they gave it to you, or they wrote it and they put it somewhere, how are they remembering what it is that they said they were going to do in January? So the vision board, placing it somewhere on the wall where they can see and they can remind themselves daily, will cause two things. It will hold them accountable, but it also get the brain in gear so that it would want to achieve those goals. Because remember, it's tapping into dopamine, which is the reward system of the brain, and then you would want to achieve it. So get your goals, get the images you want, paste them on that magazine, paste it on that board, hang it in a place where you can see it before bed and waking up. And what Jack Canfield says that there are benefits to vision boarding. He says that when you vision board, you will eliminate the lack of clarity and forgetfulness. You're not going to forget, like in my case. I looked at it in the beginning of this year and I'm like, oops, I didn't remember I had written that down. I could have done that if I had seen that. So it will eliminate the idea of forgetting it and the lack of clarity. It will leverage the law of attraction. Let me tell you, when you start saying that you want to do something, somehow people come around. They want to help you. If you say you're going to build that church that you always wanted to build, you start saying it often enough and see how people are going to show up and try to help you do what you want to do. Every time you could say that car you like, you start going around and you start seeing that car showing up so many times. You speak the thing that you want, and God has a way of sending people your way to support you. Paulo Coelho, another of my favorite authors, he's the author of The Alchemist. He says, the universe conspires to help you. He says, when you want something, the universe conspires in helping you achieve it. I say different. I say God sends people your way in your path to help you. But Paulo, who wrote the book, The Alchemist, he said, if you want something, the universe conspires to help you. And trust me, if you want that something and you keep speaking it every morning and every night, guess what? God is going to send people your way. The universe, according to Paulo, is going to conspire to help you. But let's think of Proverbs 16 and verse 3. He says, ask the Lord to bless your plan and you will be successful in carrying them out. Or commit your plans unto God and he will establish them. Same thing. So whether you decide you're going to pray them every morning and every night, whatever you decide to call them, whether you want to call them affirmations and read them out every morning and every night, or put them in prayers and pray them every morning and every night, or visualize them every morning and every night. The point is to put them out in the atmosphere daily and get your brain thinking in that realm. Make sure that you're visualizing it, all right? Think of Habakkuk again, Habakkuk 2:2. In the Message version, he says, the vision or the message is a witness pointing to what's coming. Remember, it's a goal that you want to achieve. That vision that you wrote down is something that you want to accomplish. So it's pointing to what you want to accomplish. It can hardly wait. It doesn't lie. He said it seems slow in coming, but wait. And a lot of times we know that there are things we want, but we don't want to wait. And sometimes we speak the things that we want, and then when the opportunities come, we don't even know. We sit there waiting. Some people lose opportunities. You hear people say, well, I learned the 4 things that come not back, and one of them is lost opportunities. Sometimes people are waiting there, asking for something. It comes and they're like, well, I don't know if I should take it. No, I don't know if I should do this. If it comes, that's why David in Psalm 143, he tells God, show me, cause me, teach me. So a lot of times that's what we have to do. Yes, you're going to say that's what you want to achieve, but when it comes, are you ready? Are you prepared? You want to make sure if you are speaking things in the atmosphere, if you are calling out things, and then you're attracting things to you and they show up, do you know that this is the thing? Do you know whether this is it? And are you prepared? You might have a business and you're asking for an expansion, and the expansion comes. Are you ready to take up that expansion? You probably are a non-profit and you're asking, you have your vision, you have things written out. You got the things that you were asking for, but you're not prepared to take it on. Are you ready? All right. So make sure that when the things that you are calling out, the things that you are putting on that vision board, the things that you are visualizing, you are also preparing for when it comes. So again, what are the benefits for vision boarding? It will eliminate forgetfulness. It will create clarity. It will leverage the law of attraction, which means people are going to come to help you because people are going to show up for you. You say you want it, people are going to show up for you. It's going to bring clarity to your goals. It's going to make sure that you stay accountable. If you put up your vision board in your home, or you get your kids to put up their vision board in their bedrooms, they will hold themselves accountable because they get to see it every day. Okay? Let's suppose they said they wanted better grades. What are you doing to get those better grades? What do you mean by better grades? From a D to a C, or a C to a B, or a B to an A? What do you mean? And what are you doing? And so if you give them that opportunity to sit together, let's work on those. We know you have your goals already. We've made them specific. Now we're going to put them in a space where we can visualize them, but we're going to put them in visual context, in picture form. All right. Another thing it's going to do, of course, is expand your mind, because when you visualize, the brain, it processes visual images to create neural pathways that can improve your mood, improve your motivation, improve your ability to achieve your goals. So here we go. We have all the benefits of creating a visual board. And there are lots of testimonies. You can go ahead and read people like Jack Canfield, Lynn Grabhorn, Paulo Coelho. These are all authors who talk a lot about those things, visualizing things, speaking things. Mark Batterson, who is a Christian author, all of these people talk about visualizing, speaking, calling things, and doing it consistently. And you will find that you will receive support. The law of attraction, people are going to come and help you. People are going to show up for you, and you just have to be ready for it. Okay. So my challenge to you is to ask God already when it comes that you're able to receive it. Go ahead, engage in a family, I would say challenge. I wouldn't call it a challenge, but a family activity, and create your vision board. Most of you have already created your goals. Make sure that they're specific. Practice visualizing them. And what we said, how do you visualize? You want to make sure that you imagine yourself achieving that goal, and get yourself, if you have to close your eyes, if you have to be in that space by yourself, and make sure that you're feeling, you are acting, you are rejoicing. If you know something that's going to make you happy, have that feeling come up, and make sure that you can repeat that daily. And of course, have your kids. If you have a business, make sure you do it for your business, a nonprofit. Go ahead and do it. And I'm going to do it with you. All right. I can only speak from the experiences of other people. I have spoken things out a lot. I have actually received things, but I can't tell you straight off that I was visualizing them. I can't say that. I just know that I wrote down goals. I repeated them sometime, not for 365 days, and then I achieved them. But I can imagine if I would go ahead and be consistent and do them for 365 days, twice a day, and maybe I will achieve more. So guess what? I have created my board, and I am going to report to you. At least, I have a group called Labitil, Habits That Count. And of course, I'm planning to go on there and put a few things. I'm going to share things with you. Weight loss is one of the things that I have. And what I did on my vision board, I went online and I got a picture of the number I want to achieve. And I put it on there. So I have an actual number that I want to weigh, and I put that on there on my vision board. So I'm gonna see it every day, and I'm going to remind myself that this is the weight that I want to achieve. I know that I have some goals for my business, and I did that. I put images to remind me what goals I want to achieve for my business. There are a few nonprofits I work with. What I want to do for those nonprofits this year, I have gone ahead and put the images of the nonprofits, they put their logos on there. So it's going to remind me that, hey, you want to do X, Y, and Z for those nonprofits. There are things I want for my publications. There are some new publications I want. I have images on there to remind me that these are the things I say I want to achieve. And so I have created my vision board, and I want you to do the same. Go ahead and create a vision board and tap into the science of visualization. And you can just go on the internet and read and see the testimonials of all of the people who have talked about how powerful visualization has worked for them. Athletes, most of the examples are athletes, but there are also other people who have used the power of visualization and gotten a lot done. So again, think of Habakkuk chapter 2 and verse 2 to 3. Write it down. Make it plain. Make it bold enough so he that runneth can read it. And of course, I want to tell you, Proverbs 16, 3 to 4 talks about committing it and asking God to establish it. And of course, David tells you, ask for guidance so that you will know when it comes and you will know when to handle it. Folks, this has been Labby Teal, Habits That Count. What habits do I want you to take for today? I would like you to go ahead and write your goals, visualize your goals, create your visual board, and of course, do it consistently and wait for the results. Habakkuk says it will come right on time. All right, so this has been your host, Dr. Martha J. I want to say to you, show kindness to at least one person. And I also want to say to you, plant a seed, it will grow. For all those of you listening in Dominica, in the diaspora, in the Caribbean, I want to say thank you so much for your listen. And of course, go ahead and achieve your goals. The universe is waiting to help you. It's conspiring to help you. God is waiting to help you. So go ahead and do it. Adios. Bye-bye. Until next time.
Labby Till, Habits That Count. Every Sunday at 5:30 p.m. with Dr. Martha J. The Habit Loop will be at the center of every discussion. Learn how it affects your development. Labby Till with Dr. Martha J. Every Sunday at 5:30 p.m.